I mean, JP Morgan also says there will be a big rate hike coming in September. The minutes that came out a few weeks ago, or maybe last week, Fed basically, the Board of Governors and Fed Chair Powell both basically said we're still not really seeing inflation go down. We're still taking this very seriously, right? And most project there will be another big, probably 75 basis point rate hike coming in September. But the good news about this is JP Morgan thinks that it is the last one for this year. That November and December, even though there will be meetings, it won't be nearly as big, and it'll start tapering out. And in fact, some people think that the Fed has raised rates too much so that in 2023, we're actually going to see them start cutting rates once again because the economy will be slowed down to a crawl, and then they need to do something to jolt it back up again. We'll see if that's true. Right now, what we do know is labor force is still strong. Unemployment is still low. Consumer demand is still strong. Some of these companies that have reported said we don't expect Q3, Q4 to be worse, and their earnings are actually quite good. Not everyone, but some. So we'll see what the Fed does in September. So this is also something that a lot of people are speculating on right now, right? Like whether or not we're going to still have a huge 75 basis point hike, or maybe they're more dovish and go 50 basis points, or something even better than that. I don't quite know. I don't quite know at this point. All right. So that's most of the stuff I want to cover in terms of world news, economic news, macro stuff. What about, Bitcoin and crypto? Well, looking at this, Australia is very bullish, very, very bullish. Their treasurer said that, you know what, we're going to come out with regulations unlike anywhere else in the world. And this is not a bad thing. They're not saying it like we're going to just like block everything and take control like Gary Gensler, right? They're actually going to do something called token mapping. And they're going to map basically all the tokens and the categories and niches that they fit into, right? And then plan on how to differentiate them, right? We know Australia is very pro Bitcoin crypto. They are about to come out their Bitcoin ETF, not just one, like several spot Bitcoin ETFs. And they're overall, they're not as strict with their exchange regulations. And this is very encouraging that they will be actually taking a deep dive into each project and declaring, what's what, maybe declaring what's a security, what's not a security, right? What's a utility and so forth. Unlike Gary, which is basically saying, okay, this project is security without giving any reason and basically blanket, covering the whole sector, saying that it's all securities, right? Outside of Bitcoin. I mean, that's not what we want. What we want is this, and this is very, very good. DXY continues to go up. We're at 109. This morning it was like 108.1 or something, and now it's at 108.94. The DXY continues to go up. So these are things that are counterintuitive to a good crypto market right now, right? DXY should fall. And obviously with all the stuff, the macro stuff that's happening with other countries, it's not helping the global economy. It's not helping supply chain issues. It's not helping energy issues and all that stuff, right? So there's a lot of headwinds. It seems like it's escalating right now in Europe, a lot more so than before. But the good news is, like I said, despite all these things coming out today, well, Bitcoin didn't go any lower. Bitcoin is still holding steady. And that could be because due to one man and one man alone, and that is Peter Schiff. It could be because Peter Schiff is again being very bearish on Bitcoin, claiming that CNBC has been pumping Bitcoin pretty hard all morning. That must mean crypto insiders are calling in some favors, right? Get ready for the dump. So it could be because of the Peter Schiff reversal, whenever he claims that there's going to be a big dump coming, we reverse upward. It could be because I'm just speculating. I don't know if that's the real reason. But, of course, Peter Schiff is still very negative about Bitcoin, even though people like CZ likes to point out, well, you claim CNBC likes to talk about Bitcoin, but you tweet more about Bitcoin than gold, according to CZ. And someone else pointed out a double top for gold, something that Peter will never call out. Peter likes to claim that he's a good chartist, and he charts a lot of doomsday scenarios for Bitcoin, but never any doomsday scenario for gold. I wonder why. All right, so there's those things. So obviously, some of the big headwinds that we're facing today still is there. It hasn't been resolved, right? And Bitcoin has to fight through all of it. Bitcoin, is heading a lot. It's being held down right now by all these macro conditions, right? But despite all that, it is holding strong and it's inching forward. And that's because we have so many good things going on with the fundamentals, with adoption, with buying. Yeah, there's still buying. So Peter Schiff is basically claiming that Mark Cuban knew Voyager and basically all crypto was a scam. And he only hopped on because he saw opportunity to profit, right? So right now, and he's saying this because, of course, we know Mark Cuban is in some, he's in some shark investor waters. Right? Because of his ties with Voyager, he helped promote Voyager with his arena with Dallas Mavericks, and obviously with their bankruptcy, it's not a good look for him. A lot of people pointing fingers at Mark Cuban, and Peter Schiff is kind of irking him on, saying that he knew that Voyager was a scam because at one point in time, Mark Cuban did not like Bitcoin, did not like crypto, and then he turned the corner in 2021. So Peter Schiff is claiming that he knew all along that this was going to happen, right? So again, I think Peter Schiff has to watch out. Mark Cuban has more than enough resources to go after him for defamation or something else, or whatever else he could go after him for. So Peter Schiff is still being very negative these days. But I did see this. Mark Cuban, I was looking at his Twitter to see if he responded. He didn't respond to Peter Schiff, but he did respond to none other than Gary Gensler, right? So Gary Gensler, of course, we know, wants to control everything, all of crypto, everything in crypto, including all the exchanges. And he's talking about the lending. If you actually look at this, he's talking about lending too. I'll get to that in a little bit. But he also wants to control NFT market too. He really wants to control every aspect. And probably he wants to control DeFi. So literally everything in crypto he wants to control. And read this. There's no reason to treat the crypto market differently from the rest of capital markets just because it uses different technology. Read my recent op-ed. And then there's a screenshot here. We can dispense with the idea that crypto lending isn't subject to regulation. On the contrary, the rules have been around for decades. The platform aren't following them. Okay, so Mark Cuban responded saying, "Come in and talk to who? Right? Talk to you directly." He's referring to Gary saying coming to the SEC and talk with them. Sub an appointment? How? Do you use calendar these days? Since you understand crypto lending and finances, why don't you just publish bright line guidelines you like to see and open up for comments, right? Yeah, so that's the thing. It seems like Gary always says, okay, yeah, just come on in and talk to us, but you don't know who to talk to, and you don't really know what the guidelines are, really, right? It would be nice if they just had it on the webpage and say, these are the guidelines, or wherever, post it somewhere, right? So I do think that even though Gary is playing the nice guy, saying, yeah, just come on in. We're nice people at the SEC. Come on in, right? But that's not really the case. If you're looking to buy Bitcoin and crypto for the first time and you don't know where to get started, head over to CryptosRus.com and click on the best exchange guide. Within, you'll find a list of exchanges that I recommend and some that I use on a daily basis. If you are outside the US, I highly recommend looking at Binance.com first. They are the biggest exchange out there, supported in almost every single country. They have a fantastic fiat on-ramp, off-ramp system. They offer the most trading pairs and the lowest fees in the industry. You could also download a mobile app onto your Android and Apple device very easily. If you are in the US, I recommend taking a look at the sister company of Binance, Binance.us, which offers all of these things and more. So if you want to learn more, head over to CryptosRus.com or utilize the links in the description of this video.